At this point, Donald Trump is so out of control, it's left many people wondering, is Trump disrespectful or just going insane? Or perhaps, worst of all, both. Let's not forget Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump, did in fact suffer from dementia. Donald Trump is showing concerning signs of mental decline. And now things are escalating after Trump's abysmal speech at West Point. That's right, not only was this speech so incredibly bad that it ignited fresh concerns over Donald Trump's declining mental state, but now Trump has been hit with major consequences. How's it going, everybody? Hunter Avallone here with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now we're gonna get to Donald Trump getting hit with these major consequences after his abysmal West Point speech in just a moment. But first, a little bit of important context. These concerns surrounding Donald Trump's mental state, they're not exactly new.
They walked away from that meeting, I think, a bit disheartened, a bit questioning, I don't want to say his mental fitness, but questioning just how meandering, how in some cases one said to me, he could not keep a thought straight. He would go in one direction and then he'd go in another direction, and that there wasn't really necessarily a through line to the way he spoke or what even he was talking about. At one point, and you described it earlier, he discussed his plans to bring the tax rate down from the corporate tax rate down from 21% to 20%. And apparently, at some point in the meeting, was asked about why he had chosen 20%. And he said, well, it's a round number.
But the former president's words were extremely slurred as he phoned in from Mar-a-Lago.
I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do. And he said, no way. And I said, way. So? You want to help us out with this? You're the one that made it.
That's highly concerning, of course, but on top of that, Trump's posts also indicate a mind in decline. Recently, Trump posted a bizarre picture of a swan proving that golf is dangerous. He posted this. This literally looks like something your grandpa would post to his, 9 Facebook friends. But Trump's senile and often unpredictable behavior is not the only concern here. Donald Trump's overall bad behavior is also costing him the support of veterans. Republican veterans recently spoke out after leaving the GOP because of the Trump policies. But now things have gotten even worse, because Donald Trump's mental state is now back in the spotlight. That's right, the moment you've been waiting for. Trump got hit with major consequences after his embarrassing West Point speech.
It was supposed to be a solemn moment of honor and tradition, but instead it erupted into scandal. President Donald Trump is facing a firestorm of backlash after turning West Point's graduation ceremony into what critics are calling a MAGA-infused spectacle. First, the outfit. Trump showed up to the U.S. Military Academy wearing a bright red MAGA hat, not a military cap, not a sign of unity, but a campaign slogan, front and center, at a ceremony meant to honor future Army officers. And that was just the beginning. Then came the speech. Instead of sticking to the usual themes of service and sacrifice, Trump launched into a bizarre tirade, boasting about his past victories, his campaign, and yes, even making comments about trophy wives.
It didn't work out too well, but that doesn't work out too well, I must tell you. A lot of trophy wives doesn't work out. But it made him happy for a little while at least. But he found a new wife. He sold his little boat and he got a big yacht. He had one of the biggest yachts anywhere in the world.
CNN reported the speech was half traditional, half MAGA rally. The reaction? Swift, brutal, and widespread. Journalist David Bernstein posted, "Our president is currently delivering the commencement address at West Point while wearing a MAGA hat and talking about his great campaign victory. Veteran Fred Wellman didn't hold back. This is deeply disgusting. wearing his pathetic campaign hat to the West Point graduation. Even minor league team owner Lou DiBella piled on, "A lesson on trophy wives. How inspiring. Consider an Army hat next time." And now the fallout is growing. Veterans, political commentators, and even academics are calling it disgraceful. BYU political scientist Darren Self predicted, "Trump wearing a MAGA hat while talking to graduates at West Point is pretty terrible, and hardly anyone will make a fuss." But the fuss is growing. Fast. Veteran Daniel Larson went further. Orange blob menace, convicted felon, wearing that hat to a West Point commencement is high crimes and misdemeanors. Impeach this idiot. Whether it's the trophy wife comments, the campaign bragging, or the MAGA branding, Trump's appearance at West Point may have just crossed a line that even his critics didn't expect. And now the consequences are crashing down.
Well, I mean, I think what you can say about Trump, right, is that he's full of himself. He's self-absorbed, doesn't really care about the graduates that he's addressing, speaks in platitudes and, says all of the right words in a speech to congratulate them, but doesn't really care. That's why he's disrespecting them by wearing a MAGA hat, not shaking their hands, not taking the time. I mean, if you're a parent there in the audience and you're watching, and this is the day that you've been looking forward to, and your son or daughter, look what they're accomplishing. You have to find this so disrespectful. And maybe more importantly, as much as he talked about the power of the U.S. military, he didn't tell them that by slashing humanitarian aid across the world, that he's causing more unrest and making it more likely that we're going to see war.
But the backlash didn't stop there. Observers of the speech say it wasn't just inappropriate. It was unsettling. Following the address, Trump appeared confused. As the ceremony concluded, he paused on stage to speak with a uniformed officer, seemingly unsure of where to go next. The officer had to physically gesture and direct the president across the platform, an awkward moment that many are now calling another example of Trump's cognitive decline. And that wasn't all. Trump failed to shake hands with the cadets, an important and long-standing tradition at West Point. Critics say the president looked disengaged and disconnected throughout the event. His trophy wives comment received almost no reaction from the audience, and his meandering delivery left many questioning whether he even understood the gravity of the occasion.
Let's talk about what President Trump did yesterday, giving the commencement address at West Point. Besides congratulating the graduating cadets, they got to hear the president veer off into his usual grievances and political attacks. Let's take a listen.
I went through more investigations than Alphonse Capone, and now I'm talking to you as president. Can you believe this?
So, look, we are all used to Trump making campaign-style diatribes in, inappropriate settings. But what is your response to him doing it at West Point?
Listen, you say we're all used to it. No, I am tired of it, Alex.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I'm right there with
he
you.
literally sounds like someone who is broken out of the insane asylum. Like, he just be all over the place. Like, get him some ADHD medicine, if nothing else, because I don't know where he's ever going to go. And I don't think that those that have gone through West Point expected to have their commander-in-chief address them and start talking about trophy wives or start talking about how he had so many investigations. What a great reminder that you are not qualified to be the person that potentially will command us as troops.
Well, we already know that Donald Trump is a narcissist, so he really hates criticism. But now he's getting so much criticism over this piss-poor display, I can't imagine how much coping Donald Trump is doing. The fact that Donald Trump took this opportunity on stage in front of future Army officials to talk about himself and ramble incoherently, it's absolutely embarrassing. But then again, what more can you expect from Donald Trump, the chief embarrassment?